Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Call Your Mom podcast. We're so excited you guys are here. I know we've been gone for a while, but we are going to be more consistent. We are going to show up every single week for you guys from here on out. That is our commitment, right?
Yes.
We want to make sure that you guys are taken care of course. So we're back and we're better than ever.
I know. Yeah. I think so.
We've had so many changes this last summer and a lot of things going on that we kind of put it on pause just to kind of give a little bit of wiggle room and dive right in when we were ready.
Yes. One of the things that we changed was
our studio. So now we are actually at my mom's house in her office, and it's so much easier just to like walk right in and just come in here and just sit down and actually record. We love Andrew and his team. Some Company is amazing. We're going to go to him for all of our needs. We still love him. Shout out to Some Company. We just needed something a little bit more convenient. And now we could just come down stairs, not stores, and record.
Yes. So much easier and more convenient, especially after the summer we had I was taking care of your brother after his hip surgery. He's all better. Yay. And, just a lot of different things that were happening in our lives as far as work goes and things like that. It just was a little more convenient to make it be here.
Exactly. So speaking of changes, that is what our episode is all about today. So let's dive right in. We're really excited. So everyone has a season of change. We go through ups and downs in life. I don't know anyone who has a straight line of a life.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't think that's possible. So
we went and saw, here's a story. We went and saw Wayne Newton. We took my grandma to see Wayne Newton for her 79th birthday. We're not allowed to say that, so maybe I bleep that out.
It was really her 50th birthday.
Right. And I'm going to let my mom tell you what he said, but it was so good. It talks about changes in your life.
Yeah, first of all, he was amazing. He's 82 years old?
Yeah.
82 years old, can play multiple instruments, still sings, still performs, still tells all these jokes, can still tell his life story. It was absolutely entertaining and incredible. Such a gracious, kind man. And what he was sharing when he was on stage was about the seasons of life that he's been through. And he showed us on videos the different things that he's accomplished throughout his life from the time he was young to the time he was old. And he said, I just want to share one thing about my life that, it looks like my life has just been great this whole time and it's just gone up, 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 up. He goes, but I just want to make sure that everybody knows life goes like this. It goes up and down. It goes up and down. There's hills and there's valleys, there's mountain peaks. And he's like, and not every day of life, not every season of life is a mountain peak time in your life.
No.
There's valleys that you have to go through.
And sometimes the valleys make the mountain peaks so much more like amazing and wonderful and extraordinary. What are all the words I could say?
Yeah. Well, it's like, if you didn't know sadness, you wouldn't know what happiness was, right? And so it's kind of that, I don't know, balance of life. Like if you didn't know if you didn't have one, you couldn't have another. You wouldn't be able to experience it to its fullest.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And change is part of that experience, right? Whether it's motherhood, a career change, a marriage, dating life, breakups, body image, you name it, change is a part of life. It's inevitable. It's inevitable. And we're going to face it. And how we go about facing that change is the most important. So we want to address change in general, what we've walked through in life, right? My mom has helped me walk through so many different stages of my life, from, dating all the way to career changing, to deciding colleges, to boyfriends, to marriage. And you have been through so many changes in your life. So this is what we're going to talk about, everything under the sun when it comes to seasons and changing. And just like Wayne Newton said, it's up and down. Okay, so first thing first I want to talk about is a big change that I'm going to be having in my life soon. It's really, really good. I am going to officially travel with my husband for his seasons for professional baseball. He just got back from New Hampshire. He was with the Fisher Cats in Double A for the Toronto Blue Jays. And now I'll be traveling to Scottsdale come October 1st. And I'll be there through November. So I'm really excited. But this is a really big change for me because I'm, one, used to doing things one long distance with him. And two, I'll be away from friends, family, in a place that's new. And I don't even know the schedule. And if you're hearing this now, I don't even know where I'm living. Hopefully by then I will know where I'm living when you hear this. But that being said, I'm really excited. But it is a really big change. And it brings so many emotions. And one of those is anxiousness.
Yeah.
So have you ever been through a change like this that's kind of big, kind of, different, and it's brought anxiousness?
One of the most recent things for me that I dealt with change was your brother graduating high school. And so he's my youngest, Noah. He's 20. But when he graduated high school, what is it, 2 years ago now? I just remember getting really anxious because I was like, oh my gosh, this is like my last little one. And I had a friend that was going through the same exact thing. And we both were kind of like, okay, now what? Because you're involved in school and you're involved in their lives and yes, you're doing other things, but there's this whole season of your life that now has completely shifted. You're no longer, mom to a kid in school or, needed at the school to do things and participate. So that season made me anxious because I was like, okay, well, what is next? What will be next in my life? What am I going to do? And it actually made me have to look at all these things that I wanted to do. Now I actually could do them. And I kind of was like, oh, this feels a little overwhelming now because now there's no more excuses,
Yeah, now you have all this time on your hands.
Yes.
You're like, okay, what do I get to do now?
Yeah, it's my time.
Yeah, you didn't have to worry about pickup or drop off or volunteering or homework.
Nothing.
Yeah, I could see how that brought anxiousness into your life because you're like, what does the future hold? And I think that's a big thing when it comes to change. You question, what does the future hold? So it's that fear as well that goes hand in hand of what am I going to do or what is going to happen? And whether you're at a high or a low, whether it's a mountain or a valley, like this is a mountain for me, right? This is a really big career opportunity for my husband. It's very exciting. There's going to be lots of new things. I'm going to meet new people. And that fear is still there because it is so different. I'm being put into a new environment. I'm being, I'm going to be introduced to new people and I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what it's going to be like. And it's definitely providing some fear and some anxiousness for me. And how I've been dealing with it personally is kind of focusing on the good things. So being grateful for the opportunity and being grateful for the time that's going to come with my husband and practicing gratitude. That's something my mom has always said, life advice. Practicing gratitude for the things that are coming. And then I'm a preparer. So preparing, I'm like, okay, I have to pack this. I have to do this. What are the paperwork? What is this? So diving into what I'm actually good at and I can sort of control a little bit.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's kind of what I've been walking through and facing with my fear of the change and stuff.
I know you're an A-type personality, so you being a preparer kind of person, how have you navigated being able to when whatever you prepared for doesn't actually happen? How are you preparing for that part?
Gosh, I don't even prepare for that part. I just let it happen. Because a long time ago, I learned, who cares?
Yeah, let it go.
Let it go. Because if I had tried to control it, then I would have just made my anxiousness go through the roof. Yeah. So for the things that are going to change, you just kind of have to laugh at it and move on. Because it's it's like walking into a hotel room and you thought you were going to get one thing, but you get another thing and it's bad. You could either just like embrace the rest of your trip and just laugh it off, or you could just be in a terrible mood and have a terrible time and not enjoy your vacation that you paid a ton of money for something that you can't really control or change.
Yeah. Well, life is about perspective, right? So we can either focus on the bad or the good, and whatever you focus on is just going to grow anyways. So why not focus on what you can make of something, even if it doesn't turn out the way that you thought it was going to be?
100%.
Yeah.
So that's how I handle it.
Yeah.
Being a type A personality.
Yeah.
I know some people that's hard for them, but I just learned that a long time ago.
Yeah. I thought that was super important because I'm sure there's a lot of type A personality people out there that can relate to you.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So for me, I'm not a type A personality, as we know. And I just kind of like roll with the punches. I've always been that way since I was a little kid. So I think the thing that gets hard for me sometimes is I will get stuck because I get analysis paralysis. I'll start analyzing everything before I make a decision.
Overanalyzing
it before I make a decision. And then I'm kind of get stuck and stalled for a minute before I can get going again, because I'm like, okay, I don't want to make the wrong decision because then I don't want to have regret, but I also feel anxious about the decision I'm making. And then, you get stuck.
Yeah.
You get stuck and it's hard to move forward. And then when you move forward, you're like, did I make the right decision?
Wait, there's a smaller story to this, very minute, that goes with this. Has to do with my mom's parking.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So her decision, this literally happens with her parking.
Yes.
We'll be driving and there's plenty of parking. If there's too many parking spots, she'll go this way, then swerve right, then swerve left. They go, okay, we're going to go here. And it would be like this awkward last minute decision.
I'm really just trying to keep them guessing and keep them alert in the car. That's it. Whoever's with me, I just want to make sure, you're always guessing.
But that is actually kind of a small example of what you're saying.
Yes, it is. It totally is how my brain works. And I think sometimes if there's too many decisions, then I have a hard time. But I definitely get anxious about the unknown. And I think a lot of people do. I think that's normal. I think that is just human. And unfortunately, many of us, instead of using our imagination to imagine all the good that could happen in the unknown, a lot of times we're constantly preparing for the bad, and what could go wrong.
Yep.
So,
and only looking at that.
yes. And so I think it's important for us to use our imagination to imagine all that could go right when we're facing the unknown in a season of change.
That is so good. That kind of that ties hand in hand with the gratitude.
Yes, 100%.
Because it's grounding you in what is already good and then almost manifesting, which I don't love the word manifesting, but it is like manifesting like the goodness around you, or the good that could come out of this, instead of thinking about all the different things that come wrong. Because a lot of people do that. They only think about everything that could go wrong instead of like, it's going to do this and we're going to do this. I think I've been that way my whole life though, too, because I've been told that in my head, I live in a music video. So
Yes, you have.
So maybe my whole life I've just been kind of,
I think we both, I kind of crack up because you and I have always talked about how the world would be so different if we all sang. So if you had to sing an argument, or if you were upset and you had to sing, or if you were anxious, you had to sing about it, it would totally change everything about the whole conversation. It would change how you felt. I mean, so
it would make you laugh.
Yeah,
completely.
How do you be mad? How are you how do you be angry at anybody?
Like, hello, I am angry at you.
I'm so mad.
Could be a whole musical that you got going on with try it with your spouse. Shout out.
Yeah, try that and let us know if it works.
Or you're dating or whatever.
Yeah.
Try it. See what happens.
You never know.
Okay. Back to change though. I know we're saying that we do have a positive outlook, but there have been times in our lives where we both have gone through things and we're super worried about something going wrong, or maybe the negative. And for me, I know I have like something in mind right now. I'm like, okay, I know a point in my life, and it was just recently, where I was like really anxious about the unknown. But I want to hear from you first. When there has been a time in your life where you know that you had to face the unknown you didn't know, and it was different change. It was completely different, and you just had to face it and walk right through it.
When your dad left, that is an easy one for me to answer.
It's a big one.
Yeah. That was one of the most unknown, scary times in my life for me, because I didn't know what was going to come next. I just known we got married, we were in high school, we dated, we got married, and we'd been together all these years. And then all of a sudden we were done. It was that other half was gone, and you guys were still young. And I really was afraid. And I'm going to be honest, I was pessimistic. I wasn't feeling very optimistic at the moment. And I wasn't seeing gratitude as my world and being grateful. I was letting the fear seep in and letting my imagination take over on the worst case scenarios.
Yeah. It wasn't this like magical thing that we were just talking about, like where we think that way, that's such minute compared to something that's so big like this.
And it took time for me to finally figure out how to focus on gratitude and how to find ways to motivate myself toward standing in positivity. And I had to learn to do that, though. I had to take time to actually focus on doing that. It didn't just come naturally. It wasn't like in that moment I was like, you know what? I am so, grateful for this or that. It actually took me being intentional every day to do something that made me focus on the good things in life.
That's really good that you said that, because a lot of women who are going through breakups, maybe they're long-term breakup, short-term, whatever it is, marriages, they're not focusing on that. They're only thinking of the negative, and you're surrounded by that because of your emotions and your hurt and your pain. So what would you say to someone who is going through that? What would you say the first way to accept what's happening? I know it's hard to accept it, but what would you say to someone like me? I know you've told me in the past when I went through a breakup, and Johnny, better not, Johnny. What would you say to girls like me? What advice would you want to give us?
Oh gosh, there's so much. But first of all, I want to say, feel what you need to feel. I think a lot of times we want to suppress our feelings, and we don't want to feel those things. And I think a lot of times we feel like we need to be strong and be that woman. But I think it's okay to be soft and break down and be hurt and allow yourself to feel that. So the only way to heal is to feel, right? Mm-hmm. So do that. And then I would say, make sure you talk to people who are going to help point you toward positive things and toward the positive outlook. Because I think a lot of times we can get around people that will help us just see the negative. And they'll say, keep us in that loop. So I would definitely say, make sure the people that you are hanging out with at that time are uplifting and pointing you toward positive things. And then
I like that.
I definitely would say, make sure you're taking time for yourself, to heal yourself, to do things you love, to do things that make you feel joy, and surround yourself with things that make you feel joy and nourish yourself. And then definitely read books that are going to help motivate you. I would say start journaling and just letting all those emotions out, but also journaling gratitude every single day. Just 5 things a day. It doesn't need to be a lot, because eventually what ends up happening is you start saying, okay, I'm grateful for these 5 things, right? But then the gratitude starts expanding in the world around you. So throughout your day, you're just starting to notice that you're a little more positive. You're starting to see things better. And so those are a few things I would say that are super important that help me a lot.
Oh, okay. I like those. I know for me, navigating singleness after a breakup was really hard for me. In certain situations, obviously. Some I was like, okay, moving on, bye. Yeah. But for some, especially when you're young or you're in your 20s, actually, my mom doesn't know this because she got married at 17.
Yeah.
This didn't happen to you for later, but in your 20s, it's like that whole, it's like you're on a train, you want to get married, and then you want to have a baby, and you want your career, and you want it all. And so when you lose something like that, it's kind of like that picture went out the window of what you thought was supposed to happen. And for me, it went to diving into things I love and focusing on me. And it's so silly, but things like getting dressed helped a lot. Like actually like looking cute and going out with your friends and doing something fun. For me at that time, it was line dancing. I went line dancing like a crazy woman. And also another big thing that helped too was just focusing on myself, like you talked about, focusing on what I wanted and what I liked. And even though I'm married, I noticed after this last season of change that me and Johnny went through that I wanted to talk about. And I'll go back to that. We do as women tend to forget about it. And I remember I was just like in the shower and I was like, what movies do I like? Like, what are my favorite movies? And like, I hadn't sat and thought about that in so long. Or the fact that my husband knew some of my favorite things and I didn't. Like, I think as women, whether you're walking through singleness or you're walking through a season of change, remembering some of the things that you actually like instead of worrying about everything else. Because I definitely tend to have done that and worried about everything else around me instead of just being like simply looking at the things that I enjoy and that I liked and that I wanted. That's something that helped me kind of walk through the change in my life or whatever, and especially through singleness when I was not married.
Well, and I think that kind of for as women, we have to kind of check in with ourselves through all seasons of life because we're constantly changing, whether we know it or not. You know, sometimes it's just subconsciously we're just changing because of the events in our lives. And then other times we kind of find ourselves stepping back and being like, wow, I don't really like that anymore. Or, hey, I like this. And so I think it is so important to get to know yourself again and kind of check in with yourself every once in a while, whether you're married or you're in a season of singleness.
Yep. I 100% agree. And that's what helps me, along with some of the things that my mom said, because obviously she gave me a lot of that same advice when I walked through singleness or anything like that. But for me, the big change for me this last year was Johnny being let go. So when Johnny got let go, this whole idea of what my life was supposed to look like went out the window. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if he was going to get his dream. It was a big deal to us, and it caused a lot of friction, and it brought up a lot of trauma emotions, right? That came up. And for me, it also brought up a feeling of like the fear of unknown, but also a little regret of like, should I have prepared in a different way? Should I have made a different career change? Should I have become a lawyer? Should I have whatever it was? I started to go into that mode. Like, should I go back to law school? Like, should I?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
We had all kinds of discussions.
Yes. And like all this craziness that like really didn't need to happen. What I needed to do was ground into my marriage, one, and two, remember some of the things that I liked and took time for that, because what I was doing was over trying to fix things. So maybe that was overworking, trying to find jobs, trying to do this to make more money, to make sure we're supported, because I had to do that for the rest of my life. And that change is what triggered that for me. And I really do think some of the things that helped me get out of that was learning to like trust, going to counseling and realizing what I was doing and undoing some of the trauma, because when negative things happen that are unexpected, some of us have a trauma response, right? We have a response that we're automatically going to do to that change that is just programmed in ourselves from whatever happened to us. And that happened to me.
Well, what was your, I'm sorry, I was waiting for you to finish. I was so into what you were saying.
Well, I felt I was talking for so long.
No, I loved it. So,
okay.
So important.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for me, that trauma response was that I needed to take care of everything and everyone. So that was everything you can think of under the sun, that it all had to fall on me. And that if I wanted to make sure that our life was going to go a certain way, I had to do it because no one else was going to do it. So then my husband was left like,
well, what about me?
What do I do? And I was like,
since you got it all.
yeah. Like, and then I was like, it's all on me. And it just, and that spiraled me. Right.
Yeah.
Now, for type A personality girls out there, they know what that feeling is, right? A lot of firstborn girls, shout out to you, you know what that feeling is like. And I had to unlearn that. And it's so funny because unlearning it took a long time, but it also took a smaller amount of time than I thought. And then finally, when I let go of certain things, I started to like I said, I had that shower moment where I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't thought about something I like in so long. Like, what do I like? What do I want to watch? Or what do I want to do? Or what do I want to wear? Because I was worrying about everyone else and everything else. And future children didn't even have. Future houses, future money that weren't even here. It wasn't even here.
I just think as women, it's just natural for us to want to control we want to control everything.
Yeah.
It's just a natural instinct for us to just want to step in and take control. And I think one of the most beautiful things we can do for ourselves is learn to let go and to let go of expectations, to let go of control of things. There's certain things that are completely out of our control that we cannot control. So we need to just let them go and focus on what we actually do have control over.
Yep.
And it makes such a big shift in your whole life, in your stress, in your happiness, in your anxiety, and all of those things, because you're just allowing that weight to just come off of you, and you're not holding on so tight to nothing, because really
It's nothing.
It's nothing, because it's not even here yet, or it's gone.
Also, trusting people. That's the other thing, trusting the loved ones around you.
Yes.
And it's so funny you say the let go thing because, when we were walking through this, my husband was like, I'm going to do everything in my power to get this dream. That's my dream. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. Well, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm still going to make sure all these things, right? But trusting, and then now we're on the other side and it's better than I could ever imagine.
But I feel like the work you did do and everything that you've gone through has actually prepared you for the season that you're in.
Yep.
The season that you're about to walk into, the season you are walking into, you are now a completely, not different person, but you're healed in the areas. And we're always working on our healing. I mean, let's face it, forever. It's you're going to get a trigger or whatever, it happens, but you now know how to navigate those feelings. And I think it's so cool because now you guys are walking into this new season and you're able to navigate it so much better because you still have a lot of unknown.
Exactly. I do.
Stuff that's beyond your control.
I really do. I mean, the valley prepared me for the mountain and I'm really excited and it's going to be really good. I'm proud of my husband.
I'm really excited for you guys. I really am.
Mom.
I can't wait. I am kind of sad because we're going through a season that we both love so much, pumpkin spice season.
I know. And my mom doesn't even like pumpkin spice.
I don't. I just like
She
the
just likes
smell.
the idea of it, but I like all the pumpkin spice things.
Yeah. I like the smell of the candles.
Yes.
That's it though.
Yeah.
Other than that, blah. But we don't get to do our traditions this holiday season.
I know, like baking and like all the fun, cute, we would do Halloween stuff and it's just going to be missed. But at least I'm here for Christmas.
Yes. And Thanksgiving.
Oh, yes. I am here for Thanksgiving too. But yeah, I'll be gone for my birthday too.
And we're going to have to wear our PJs like through Zoom call or something. We bought cute Halloween PJs.
Yes.
Yeah.
We were going to do a cute little reel, but now we're apart. So we'll Zoom it. Anyway. Okay. So, I really want to dive into like this other part of, mountain and valleys and changes and all that stuff. And this last one would be like regret. Some of the mountains and the valleys and the changes we make are through decisions we made. We talked about the unexpected ones, but what about like when you've made a decision and then you get to like, you thought it was going to be a mountain and then it was a complete valley and you just are like, man, why did I do that?
Yeah. I think that happens even on the small things. It doesn't even have to be a big thing. I mean, we've done that with our flight just recently.
Oh yeah.
To Washington. We were trying to save money and we took a flight that we did not need a layover, but we were like, it's just an hour, no big deal. and we regretted our decision because we ended up with a 7-hour layover because our flight got delayed.
And we only saved like $150 each.
Yeah, it was. So anyways, that's a very good example of small things that happen.
Yep.
in making decisions of the unknown. So, but yeah, I think for me, I would think about, when I think about regret, a lot of times for me, it's after time has passed. You know, obviously, sometimes it's not even a decision I consciously made. It like I said, you know, when you guys all finished growing up,
Yeah.
as a parent,
Empty nest syndrome.
yes,
Is that what it's called?
empty nest syndrome.
Yes.
Yes,
She has an empty nest, guys.
empty nest syndrome. Which technically I'm not empty
Not
nested.
really.
Everyone's still here. But I think you look back with, did I do enough? I think about that a lot. Like as a parent, I'm like, oh, did I do enough or whatever?
Oh, this is good because a lot of girls who are even parents now or thinking about parents or thinking about wanting to be parents, they're probably already having this.
Oh,
If you're like a mom, like you're
Totally.
pregnant, you can even talk about this pregnancy all the way to adulthood.
yeah. And you think about that, your child all the time. And did I do enough? Did I feed them right? Did I do this? Did I do that? And it's so funny because now, you know, I went through that season where I was just like, did I do enough? Did you have a great childhood? Was I a good mom? You know, you're asking all these questions and your kids are kind of, you know, they're looking at me like, Mom, it's fine. We're fine. And, you know, but as a parent, I've spent time doing that where I really sat back and was like, oh gosh, did I give them enough hugs? Did I do enough?
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, it's funny. Noah has said to me one time, he said, you know, Mom, you were there for every toothbrushing, every, you know, school event, all this stuff. You were there. You've done plenty. You're good. He goes, I'm not going to remember, you know, we don't remember the big things as much as we remember all the little things you did. And it's like, oh, okay.
Or the details.
Yes.
Like, I'm not going to remember that you bought me like
No.
I don't know.
Anything.
A Thomas
Christmas.
the Train
Most
toothbrush versus a car's toothbrush.
Exactly.
I don't even think those are in the same era. But you know what I mean.
But you could tell you didn't
And
even
I
get
like
them.
how they were.
She didn't even get one.
And I like that they were boy toothbrushes.
Right? You did get one of the singing Hannah Montana ones, though.
There we go. I remember that.
Yeah, you did.
Actually, I do remember that.
So, I mean, yeah.
Maybe the details matter a little bit. Just joking.
That's why she is who she is.
Yeah.
But no, I think regret when it comes to the unknown, that's what I would, for me as a person that thinks about all the decisions when the unknown comes, that's what makes it hard for me to step forward and is the fear of the regret. And we let fear keep us from making a decision. And then sometimes after the decision, we're like, well, darn it, I should have made a different one. But it's the art of just learning to let it go. And
Wow. I'm going to make my mom a t-shirt. The art of just letting it go. Because I think throughout this whole podcast you'd said that. But it is true. It is very much true.
Yes.
I think a lot of people like to grip onto things really, really hard. It's like, you know, you're talking about this with us growing up, but even like women when their baby goes from baby to toddler and then toddler to, I don't know, what's the next stage? Puberty?
no, that's a big jump.
That's what I was wondering.
That is a really big leap. But just,
I clearly have not had children.
yeah, just childhood.
You guys know what I mean. I think you guys know what I mean.
Yeah.
But at any point in any stage, you know, the regret could settle in because like, did I do enough as when they're toddlers? And I just saw a reel. This is specifically for women who are pregnant. And the lady was talking about women having regret over what they eat.
Yeah, I didn't have that.
You didn't
'cause I
have
ate
that?
everything.
Okay, because it was like,
just
did I
kidding.
feed my baby a lot? Did I feed it
Oh.
enough? Am I feeding it unhealthy? Like these women are like anxious over the
Yeah.
fact of what they're feeding their baby.
I could see that happening. To be honest, I really could, especially at this day and age. See, I lived in an era, I was pregnant during an era when I didn't have social media telling me million trillion things a day.
Oh yeah.
It was more intuitive eating. So I ate probably a lot of what I shouldn't eat with the first two, just because I was craving it.
Yeah.
And there wasn't really a lot of like anything out there except just feed your baby. And so, but I can see the regret being there with women now because you guys are being bombarded with social media telling you eat this, eat that, do this, do that. That's a lot of information.
Okay, so speaking of social media and change, social media I feel it can have a negative impact on your mental health when you are going through change. So, like you're saying, like you're being bombarded with all this information, but you're going through this radical change of being pregnant and giving birth. And you're completely going to change your whole life. And you completely had to change the way you eat. And you're being fed all this information. But this can apply not only to pregnancy, but this can apply to lifestyle changes. Let's say you would like to lose weight. There are so many diets I am going to fall over. There's like carnivore, there's paleo, there's keto, there's vegetarian, there's vegan, there's pescatarian, okay, I'm not going to name them all. However, just in general, there's all this information online, and I wish we could go back to a simpler time where we didn't have that. But what I was going to say is, if you are going through a big change in your life, just limit your interaction on social media.
I 100% agree. I will say that I'm going through a more quiet season of my life, a slower season, and it's a growing season. I'm growing different areas of my life, so I'm slowed down. I'm not traveling as much. I'm not doing as much with a lot of people and things like that. And life's just slower because a lot of my friends are in different seasons of their life, so we can't get together as much, just different things. And so I was going through, as I go through this season, I was noticing that if I watch social media too much and you're seeing people going places, doing this, doing that, it can really make you feel like, oh, I'm not doing enough, or make me feel lonely, or make me feel as though my life isn't as exciting as it should be. And it helps when I take a step back from it and remember my life is my life, and I feel very joyful in it right now, and I'm happy with where it's at. And that comparison is really the killer of joy.
It is. It is literally great quote. Comparison is the killer of joy.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you're saying is exactly why I said that. So no matter what big change you're going on in life, whether that's career change, because I've even seen people, talk about like making an X amount of money by a certain age or whatever that is. I had to walk through that too, where I was like, am I supposed to be doing something by the time I'm 27 and I'm supposed to be having a certain salary or a certain thing? And honestly, it was just social media telling you something you shouldn't and shouldn't, like who you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to be doing at this time and why you're supposed to be doing it. And also making you want things that are unnecessary. And it's something that I think this generation places so much faith into that it's actually causing us to actually be depressed and anxious and unhappy and sad instead of looking at the things around us.
Yes.
And having gratitude for it.
Because when you focus on the good gets bigger.
Yeah.
It's
It's
the way
like,
it is.
what plant are you feeding or watering?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's going to grow. And when you practice gratitude, it expands.
What's the saying you say?
Which one? Which saying?
Where your focus goes.
Oh, where your focus goes, your energy flows. No matter what. I have literally lived that. And it's very true. And if you focus on, fear, the unknown, and you just constantly keep honing in on that, it's going to feel like it's just overwhelming, and your energy is going to go toward, how can I fix this? What can I do? All your energy is going to go toward that. But if you focus on the good and what you already have, what ends up happening is your energy starts focusing on that, and you end up using what you already have to do great things, right?
Yeah.
And you also start seeing the world in a completely different way because you're starting to notice there's so much good around me, and your world starts to expand. And it's just the way it is, because what you where your focus goes, your energy flows, and that's just how you're going to move through life,
I love this. I love this. I love this. I love
Yes.
this. So, takeaway from today's podcast. Okay. I just want to say it actually one more time.
Where your focus goes, your energy flows.
I think that's the main thing, that and
Yeah.
gratitude. So if you're going through a season change in your life, we have homework for you. You are going to focus on gratitude.
Yes.
You're going to focus on the little things that you love about yourself.
Yes.
So whether that's, self-care, health, whatever it is, you're going to focus on you. And 3, Say it again.
Where your focus goes, your energy flows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just focus on the other two, and then your energy will go towards that.
And comparison is a thief of joy.
Yep.
So if you find yourself comparing and you're scrolling, just shut off the scrolling.
Yeah.
Go find something that you want to do that you love.
Yep. Put your phone away. Go to dinner with your friends. Read
Yeah.
a book.
Watch a funny movie.
Take a bath.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. Play with your dog. With me, it's my cat. I love my cat. Shout out to Lily.
Hey, what about Chunk Charles and Houdini?
I love them too. They're so cute.
They are.
We do have 3 family cats
We love them so
and
much.
a dog named Ralph.
We love them.
Anyway, thank you so much for being a part of this episode, guys. I hope that this helps your change in your life. Helps the change in your life. And I don't mean the changes in your pocket or in the couch seats. Does anyone remember looking for a change in the couch seats? Can't talk today. But I hope you guys follow us on Instagram, hit subscribe on YouTube.
And if you have any questions or topics that you want us to talk about, message us on Instagram. We would love to have them on our show.
Yeah, we would love to get to know what you guys want. And remember, you're not alone. You can always call your mom.